Another one that I'm a huge fan of is something called Viva Topics, and I can't really talk about knowledge without talking about Viva Topics. If you think about hybrid or virtual employees, or you think about onboarding, there's probably no bigger discussion today than the one around Viva Topics, because what it essentially does is it takes the knowledge in your organization and it brings it to the user in context in the place they're already working.
Lead is a remote-first company based out of Canada.
What makes a world-class Microsoft 365 intranet and digital workplace?
So if you're looking at a news article, and in the news articles in SharePoint or in Teams or wherever that news article is displayed, when you see that that topic show up, you'll be able to interface with it, interact with it, hover over it, and you'll see things like who are the people that might know more about that topic, what are the resources around that topic, what is that topic, what is this acronym, what does it mean? Super helpful for onboarding. It's not limited to this. If you get an IM from someone, if you have a channel message from someone in Teams, all of those places will surface this as well. And my favorite one, even in Outlook. So if you get an email from someone and it has that term or topic, it will also show that preview that I showed, or you could look up a person, look at their expertise, see that they're an expert on a topic, then see more about that topic, and so on and so forth. This idea of bringing arguably the intranet and our knowledge to the employee just in time, in context, is incredibly valuable. And that's only the beginning of what Viva Topics provides today. Viva Topics also has, when you click through and explore that, it has other information in this experience. One, it's dynamic. So the content within here at first is automatically generated by the system, by AI. It looks at the terms and topics in the organization that are prevalent and suggests them. It says these ones have more impressions, more people would potentially see this topic. It seems like it's relevant. It could be a customer name, it could be a product name, it could be a technology that we work with, like Viva Topics, right? Each one of those things are things, if we had infinite resources, we would have created an intranet page for that helps you understand, all the things around it, who leads that, who knows more about it, etc. We just don't have the time or energy to do that. What the tool does is it builds that for us, and all we have to do is curate it. All we have to do is publish it, which is a very, very valuable step in the process. So you can see here where it's pulling and extracting the description directly from the document, or here, right, where we have people, it's saying these people look like they're related to this topic, and you can actually just choose them and say, kind of pin them, or yes, these people are related, and describe why they're related. And now all of a sudden, other people who see that topic can understand exactly, who are the right go-to people. By the way, this can be edited too. You can have your own web parts in here. So you can have, traditional intranet-like experiences here, or you can point to existing pages in your intranet or departmental sites or other things like that right from the very top part of this experience. If we kind of go further in the document, this idea of suggested files and resources, this is a really important one because it's not even limited to just what's in Microsoft 365 today. If you index, you pull in through a connector that content into Microsoft 365, like the content from these KB articles in ServiceNow, that information also can be accessible. So this is a big deal because what it means is one of the biggest headaches for virtual employees and who are less connected, who don't know who to ask questions to, right? One of the biggest problems for new employees is just not knowing where stuff is, and this essentially removes a lot of those barriers, especially because our top nav and our global nav for intranets, it's curated, but it's limited, right? There's only so many links that you're going to have in there. So this is a really, really powerful and compelling set of experiences. The other things I've talked about so far have been free, if it's not live tiles or custom, but this is one that does have a license, so I do want to be clear. There's a license associated with Viva Topics. But let me explain two other good ones that are good concepts here. So I don't know if you've ever used questions and answers effectively in your organization, but it's a big value proposition in Yammer. Arguably what Yammer is today is it's a community engine, and the best feature in communities is questions and answers, bar none. From a value perspective, like ROI to the business, it's the best feature. So what's interesting is people don't know which Yammer community to go to see the questions. They don't know where to search for to find the questions answers. But what we found when experiences with employees and organizations that have rolled this out in previews previews and betas and other things with us over the last year or so when we've been working with this technology, is that they do understand topics. So what's interesting is it works on both ends. I want to find, what's a common one that we saw? Paternity. I want to know more about paternity leave, or I want to know more about remote work and what's happening with the pandemic. So I look up that topic, right? Or I see that topic in a conversation thread. I click on it. I can immediately see the common questions around that paternity leave discussion, and it probably answers my question. If it doesn't, from there, I can actually ask that question. That's a really important concept as well. Now, some of these features that I'm showing will be available in the coming months. Some of them are available now, and some of them will be available in June. If you look at this one as an example, not only are we asking questions, but maybe we can even use that topics. Remember, people are promoted or pinned to topics. They're kind of said, I'm an authority on this topic. We can even maybe mention those people and say, hey, do you know the answer to this question? Which would save time and allow people to get answers to questions more readily. There's all sorts of great reporting as well in Q&A that lets you know what questions haven't been answered, et cetera. So this is a very solvable problem, but what's important is the topic becomes the entry point, and the entry point comes to the user. I see it in that email thread. I don't know paternity leave. I asked a question around it, or somebody else said, hey, I know you have a baby coming up. Maybe you should think about paternity leave. That's the email. I see paternity leave. I click on that, or I hover over it. In both instances, I can start to engage now in this type of discussion and discovery. And now I can learn everything I need to know about it. It avoids me having to waste someone else's time and be inefficient. I can immediately get the information I need, and it's authoritative and it's accurate. Another great, I'm going to skip over the mapping. Another one that's really helpful here is that topics can also surface spaces employees work in, like communities or sites. And so this is a really important thing as well, because for new employees, they don't know what sites or spaces maybe they should participate in, maybe that are useful for them. And topics can be a really accessible way to discover and explore those kinds of spaces that they might want to engage with. However, this is limited today. I think fundamentally, even though I love this feature from Microsoft, it's too simplistic, because what people really want is they want to be able to go to like the HR departmental site and say, show me all of the HR sites, including the ones I don't have access to, right? Because by the way, a site name or a team name should never be confidential. There's a whole separate discussion there. So you should always be able to see them. So show me the ones that are listed there, and then let me kind of explore and navigate and understand that. Because if you don't know this, we've never gotten good at cloning permissions. We've never had a new employee come in and go, oh, okay, here, these are all the spaces you should have access to. A huge cost in those first days of an employee, or weeks or months, even maybe even years, is that they're like, oh, I don't have access to this thing, give me access. Oh, I don't have access to this thing, give me access, right? So much stuff we miss. What I love about an idea of a directory experience like what I'm describing is it allows you to see as an employee what are those spaces maybe you should have access to early on in that onboarding or that experience. And because more and more of these spaces are going to be created, you're going to see greater sprawl. It becomes more and more important, especially to support virtual employees, to have effective ways to navigate those spaces. We provide services in Microsoft 365. Everything related to SharePoint, extranets, intranets, things like that. We have Nielsen Norman award winners on our team. So a lot of that is a little bit of what we'll discuss today. So like making sense of it, organizing it, optimizing it, templating it, doing things like that, especially building on it as a platform. If you have questions on any of these topics, please feel free to reach out. I'm super friendly, and I want this to be the start of the conversation.